Hello and welcome to Fortune India. I'm standing at a very exciting place, a track where Formula One driver Sebastian Vettel clinched his fourth World Championship title and etched his victory quite literally on the tarmac. Yes, I'm at the Budh International Circuit. But I am here for an all new reason. Because you see, Skoda has launched its Octavia RS, and you know what's the best part? It sold out all its 100 units within 20 minutes. And joining me here is Ashish Gupta, brand director for Skoda Auto India, who is going to tell us more about the India strategy and also the big bet on Kailash. Hi, Ashish.
Hello, hi.
And first of all, a very hearty congratulations for this overwhelming response that you saw over your Octavia RS. And before we get to the car, I want to talk more about the larger picture that Skoda brings in. So, of course, there was this 1 billion euro investment, and I want to understand how much of it has been put to play in terms of localization, strategies, and has this bet allowed you to get that margin and meet those targets for Skoda?
I think, as you said, first of all, our commitment to India has never been in question. One of the reasons why we are here today and the reason why we're launching the Octavia RS is because we are celebrating 25 years in India. It's a very momentous year for Skoda, not only in India, but worldwide. Worldwide, we are celebrating 130 years of Skoda, 25 years in India. And when we sat down, to how to celebrate this occasion, I think the Octavia RS was the fitting product that we wanted to bring in. But coming back to the larger picture, I think we have invested more than 1 billion euros as part of our India commitment. Our global CEO has gone on record to say that India is the most important market for Skoda outside of Europe. So definitely our commitment to India will continue. Yeah, so that's one. But now coming back to how has this investment worked for us, I think there are certainly, of course, business cases and targets that you set for ourselves. But the key to making any strategy work is, I think, being flexible. You have to understand how the market is moving. You have to have the courage to make changes in your strategy or in your tactics to be still aligned to the strategy, but changing with the market, changing what the customers want. So that is what making a strategy successful is all about, and that's what we are doing.
Could you elaborate more on the strategy in terms of local production?
Yeah.
I mean, has it led to the sort of views and targets when it comes to margins, profits, and even sale numbers? How much of that bit has been
I
fulfilled?
think always reality is sometimes very different from what you plan out to be. The key always for any strategy to work, is first to have a strategic patience. Secondly, to have a long-term view, and thirdly, the flexibility to make changes in your plans as you go along. I think that's the key in success of any project and any business plans. That's what we have been doing. So targets are always that is something, an aspiration that you want to have, but they are always moving targets as well. Yeah.
And when it comes to price competitiveness, has it aided in that as well?
No, definitely. In India, if you have to be successful, you have to be closer to the customers, you have to be closer to the markets, and that means having the right products at the right price. So that ways, I think our 25 years in India has given us a lot of learning. We are more local than many local players in India as of today. So if you look at it today, the Kailash starts at 7.54. We have a price range starting from 7.54 with the Kailash going up to 50 lakhs with the Kodiaq. Yeah? So a wide portfolio at various price points available to customers. That's the way to success in India.
You spoke about being in India for 25 years and you're celebrating that as well. But we all know that Skoda did have its highs and lows. So could you tell what was that moment for Skoda to change its trajectory and revamp its entire story?
No, I think, it is basically, first of all, believing in the market. We have never stopped believing in the market. Yes, there have been times when, the portfolio was not good enough, or maybe, the cars which the customers wanted. Of course, our cars have always been appreciated for their build quality, their safety, their engineering. But I think having the right products in the segments which, are growing in India is something which we lacked, which we fixed with the India 2.0, with the Kushaq Slavia, and now with the Kailash. And I think that strategy has worked.
So apart from realizing that there's a requirement for localization in terms of portfolio, what were the other pain points that you realized and took away as learnings to change the 2.0 story?
I think to be successful in the local market, you have to have the right price points, but at the same time, you have to also to ensure that you have the right economics and the right margin structures to be able to have a sustainable strategy in India. And for to do that, deep localization, I think, is the key. You have to have more and more components which are supplied from local sources. That's what we have stressed on. A lot of productivity improvements also were required in our manufacturing facilities in the entire value chain. That is what we have focused on. And I think from a market point of view, what was also critical was your outreach in the markets. Yeah, you cannot. Skoda has always been more of an urban brand, and if you needed to grow your volumes, you needed to be closer to customers. You had to go to the growth center. So with that also in mind, and that as a learning, we have expanded our dealer network also to today at 318 touch points, 180 cities. Our aspiration is to go to 200 cities by the end of this year. So I think going deeper into India, going to growth centers of India, being closer to customers, I think that is a very solid learning which is helping us.
From this, I do take away one thing. You are trying to find the right balance between maintaining that perspective of Skoda being a urban premium brand, while at the same time also match price points. So what is the sort of strategy you're looking at to approach the tier 2, tier 3 cities? Because like the way you said, it used to be more urban centric, but now you are looking down to penetrating into the tier 2, tier 3 cities. So
No, I think,
what's your take on that?
No, I think it all depends on what kind of a product portfolio you have. With the Kailak, we have a product with which we are more accessible in tier 2 and tier 3 towns. That's number one. Number two, as you said, Skoda has always been an aspirational premium brand. What has changed over the last 10 years in India also is that even in smaller towns in India, the aspiration for owning a Skoda was always there. But in the 10 years, with the economic development happening, that affordability and aspiration are now coming closer together. So I think this is the right moment with the right product. You can definitely make. We've been able to demonstrate that we've been able to make inroads into deeper India.
And again, I take away one very important point from what you said right now about your big bet on Kailak. But if you look at it, the Indian market in that way is a little saturated when it comes to the sub 4 meter. Because we have the likes of Hyundai, Kia, Tata. What did Skoda do different in terms of the Kailak that makes it stand out from rest of its competition?
No, I think first of all, the Indian market is large enough and this segment is large enough to have a wide array of products available to customers. It's always good for customers to have multiple choices. But at the end of the day, in a cluttered market, you also have to differentiate yourself as a brand. Our biggest strength is our European heritage, the European design that we bring into the segment, the kind of engineering strength that we bring into our segment. Safety is a no compromise for Skoda. Our driving dynamics are the best in class. In fact, the class leading. So I think these are some differentiating factors which the customers also appreciate and are our strengths. And any Skoda, starting from the Kailak to the Octavia you see here, come from the same engineer's desk, have the same DNA. And that is what I think the customers appreciate and differentiates us.
So when we talk about Skoda, of course, one cannot let go of the fact that there's Volkswagen as well. Both share the same tech and platforms. So how do you manage the fact that there is a competition within itself and try not to cannibalize each other's market share?
No, interesting question. I think that's how the group is structured. That's the strength of our group. We share platforms, we share technologies, but at the end of the day, each brand has its own DNA. Each brand has its own, design language. Each brand has its own brand image that they push. And each brand has a very unique set of customers. Yeah. So I would not call it competition. And competition, by the way, within the family is also good. Yeah. It pushes you. But having said that, I think as a part of the group and part of the group strategy, this helps us to exploit the market even better.
That's great. When you talk about unique customer base, what is the sort of differentiation you see between a Volkswagen customer and a Skoda customer?
Okay. So, generally, if you look at the dynamics or the demographics of the Indian market, you will see that 90% of the demographics across brands is same because, simply by the structure of our economy and how our, age structures are, you will always find 90% of sales happening between the age group of 35 to 45, people in the salary range or income range of 10 lakh to, let's say, whatever the limit is. So generally the demographics, because of the nature of our economies, are same. But having said that, having worked in both Volkswagen and Skoda, I would say, the difference that I find is Skoda customers, and Skoda has always been known for its luxury, the premium
Yeah.
positioning, because we come with the lineage of the Octavia, the Superb, and all these cars being in India. So slightly more, luxury oriented value, luxury value oriented customers in Skoda compared to, Volkswagen, which is more professional, more corporate kind of customers.
That's a very interesting
Yeah.
take. Now, coming to the main reason why we are here at this iconic racetrack, the Octavia RS, of course, the numbers are telling, wherein 100 units that came all the way from the UK, if I'm not wrong,
Yeah.
got
No, they came in from our factory in Czech Republic,
Ah.
but they are UK spec cars.
yeah, the UK spec cars.
Yeah.
All the 100 units got sold in what, 20 minutes?
Yes.
That's impressive. But that also tells a little more about the enthusiast market, apart from the customer that uses cars for their daily drive.
Sure.
Of course, there is a group of enthusiasts coming up. So, with these numbers, this overwhelming response that you saw, do you think that you would actually bring the RS or more performance spec cars for the Indian masses? I mean, in the close future?
No, definitely. I think, what we have seen over the last 5 years, and you would have also seen a lot of launches happening across brands. There is a substantial enthusiast community in India, and there are some active enthusiasts, who actually take the car on the racetrack. But at the end of the day, every one of us is an enthusiast. And we were talking before this interview how you as a, being a Skoda customer right from your childhood, still have that excitement and thrill of an Octavia RS. So there is an enthusiast inside each of us, and that's the emotion that is, I think, coming out. So if I look at who has bought these cars, you'd be surprised. The age groups is not what you would conventionally think, 30, 35. Most of them are above 50, 55. Yeah. So as I said, at the end of the day, we are all little children in our heart, yeah? And these cars give us that opportunity to bring out that playful side of us.
Of course, you are very right about it. But at the same time, because these cars came from outside to the Indian shows, would Skoda be interested to build these performance spec cars in India itself?
I would love to someday, yeah. But the fact is, with the kind of taxation structures, with the kind of different regulations that exist in India, making these cars in India in volumes becomes a very difficult proposition. Because you need to set up an entire production line.
Yeah.
So these are big investments. Yeah. So you have to be careful that you do not overdo it.
Yeah, no, that's also there. And speaking of taxation, of course, the big pre-Diwali gift was the GST 2.0 reforms, where prices on especially on automobiles were slashed. So what sort of boost did Skoda personally see when it came to sales or even footfall in your showrooms?
No, I think these are very timely reforms done by the government. Definitely, it has given a big boost to the economy, and I do think that it will fundamentally change the structure of the automobile industry. In terms of segmentation and everything. It has given a tremendous momentum to the automobile industry and sales in the last 1 month. Typically, also the festive season is the biggest, yeah. But this was on cherry on the top, I think.
Yeah.
And I do believe that this momentum will continue. This was not only for the festive season.
Unfortunately, we'll have to wrap this up. But
Yeah.
before we go, of course, this is the year of the EV, and we have other automakers making their big bets on the whole EV line. What is Skoda's take on the whole EV proposition, especially with the government reforms and other, interest also of customers in EVs these days?
No, definitely. I think EV is the future. No ifs and buts about it. Any manufacturer who's serious about Indian market, and not only Indian market, globally also, has to be serious about EVs. So are we. We are one of the leaders in EVs worldwide. The Elrock that we just launched 3 or 4 months ago is the largest selling EV in Europe. So our EV credentials are very well established. But it's a question of at what time do you bring volumes of an EV into India?
Yeah.
So that is what we are also contemplating. We are also planning for, as we said, for Skoda, India is our biggest market outside Europe. And if we have to stay relevant in India, definitely we have to move into the EV space.
So would that mean we would be seeing some of these EV cars from your European portfolio coming to the Indian show?
No, to be honest, you know, if I want, I can bring 100 NAX and 100 Elrocs tomorrow. No, but you need to have a long-term strategy. Yeah, you cannot just bring, you know, and frankly speaking, even with the policy changes, there is no advantage to getting EV FBUs into India. Yeah. So at the price points, you will have to bring the EV FBUs into India. You cannot do volumes. Yeah. And if you have to be serious player in EV field, you have to be a volume player. So that is, I think, the long-term strategy that we are working on. And under that strategy, if it means getting some FBUs at some point of time, we will surely consider that.
And one final question before we go. After the Octavia RS, are we going to see something more interesting coming up?
Yes, definitely, but you know, too early to say. But I can say that I do not do anything for just for once. Yeah, it's all part of our strategy.
Great. So thank you so much, Ashish, and congratulations with the Octavia RS, and all the best for your future upcoming portfolio.
Thank you so much.
And with that, thank you so much for tuning in into Fortune India's channel.